Adaptation beats strength every single time. How 2 forced pivots made me a more capable operator. Now, I signed the printed copy. Oof, scanned it. And just like that, after 10 years, building this massive thing, something that started as just a stupid little idea that I thought I had spoken into the existence back in 2013, it was over, done. Now, 2 years ago, this exact same day, I can still feel the weight of that moment as I close my eyes. It's so strange. It was so weird. The numbness in my hands, the way the printer hung behind me, like it had no idea what it was actually doing when it was printing out this piece of paper. I want to take you back further, though, because the real story does not start with a sale. It starts in 2011, the year I left a small startup when I had been running sales for. I've been the VP of sales for this small company, and I walked out of that company just after a year or so, but I had been in corporate America for a long time before that. That is the moment of adaptation. That's the moment that I finally got to me. Yes, that was me, the man behind it. I had to figure out everything. How to become the caretaker of my own paycheck. Oh yes, that's a unique thing, isn't it? Let me tell you, it's not a switch that I would recommend. It's not even like anything I've ever experienced before, because it's slow, it's uncomfortable, and it's like surgery you perform on your brain all yourself at once. Over time, though, over a couple of years, it took me finally to get out of the sort of process of thinking about it to doing. In late 2013, I sort of passed that barrier. I went into orbit. I finally said, okay, I'm cleanly separated from corporate. I don't have a paycheck. I don't have anything. And there was no way back. I had burned the boat. I had taken the island. I was not sailing back ever. Now, by the year 2014, things began to take shape. I was drafting a great little team. I had buildings. I had systems. I had milestones. I had business, systems and researching how to get better, blah, blah, blah. And the funny thing about it was the ambition, the actual size of this swing of the eventual outcome. That's the amazing thing. We adapted everything as we went forward for the next 10 years that kind of got thrown at us. The algorithms shifted, platforms died, systems crashed, new tools arrived, clients came, clients left. We absorbed it all, and we kept growing. The paper I signed 2 years ago was the sale of that decade. Practice Bloom. That was the company. It was gone. Well, let's just say mainly gone, because it's still sort of in me to some degree. And the vehicle, that growth that took me past $2 million in annual revenue, I still can't believe it. The company that put me on the Inc. 5000 list. Yes, fastest growing company in the US. Amazing. 30 people working for me. Under many managers, real people. A payroll that crossed $100,000 a month. Oh God, it was crazy. Hundreds of clients trusting us with their livelihoods, their reputations, their leads, their life, everything. Every single piece that had to come through, just quiet and clean ending with a scratch of a pen. Done, sold. Now, I had covenants in that agreement. I've always enjoyed that word. It sounds super fancy. But covenants is really kind of just saying, hey, don't do it or else. It's a promise you put and wait. A line you never cross. In exchange for the gold at the end of the line. Now, mine locked me out of selling to other medical businesses. No engagement, no promotion, no. The whole industry, do not touch, right? 2 years ago, that soil that I had tilled for 10 years was off limits. But today, the very first day I'm talking to you, is when that sentence is up. It's been 2 years, and my covenants is now over. Ta-da! I'm released. Today, I'm a free man. Now, I'm opening up the doors to a new business, a brand new brand called Patient Engines. Turn to the field I love, although it's not the only thing I'm doing. But I'm sharper. I'm faster. I'm more patient. Well, that's for sure. But I'm more relentless than ever before. Carrying everything I learned in the wilderness of the last 2 years. And the wilderness is what I want to talk about. Because the wilderness is where it's real, where the story lives, where these covenants snapped into place 2 years ago. The track I had been running for over a decade simply had ended. I had sold to medical spas and weight loss centers and all these cosmetic practices let's just call them cash paying clinics. The world was dead to me overnight for that. Gone, never again, for 2 years. I had sort of burned my own boats to build that business. And then I was off the island, kicked off the ship, mutiny on the bounty, as they might say. I was in my little rowboat, right? So what did I do? Well, I did what anyone would do. I started swimming or paddling. I sold to countertop guys. I sold to roofers. We sold to travel agencies, consultants. We sold to snowplow operators. And we even sold to water delivery guys and mobile bartenders. Everything you could possibly think of. If you think about this, it's what happens when you have to kind of do stuff. You have to do stuff outside of what you think you kind of should be doing, but would like to be doing other things that you're familiar with. That sounds like a punchline. I can almost guarantee you that I've built a system for something, for some business, for some niche, for something that you've done, or maybe you're doing now, and we've helped it grow. And that's the punchline of all punchlines. We conquered. We grew slowly, not like a weed, but for the last 2 years, we've stayed steady. We haven't lost clients. We haven't gone overboard with trying to build some massive company, but we're a steady $500,000 company now, a strong one, with actually 7 people on our team that do things to help these businesses grow. Now, what I'm also saying is we've adapted to fit anyone's needs. So if you came to me and said, I need to fix X, in fact, we had 2 customers today alone that came to us that are in the consulting and let's just call them events organization, ask us to help them build websites and systems and structures. Yeah. Can we help them? Of course. Did we have to listen intently? Did we have to scale something that's pretty much different than the last thing we did? Yes. And I will tell you, that's why we're doing so well. You see, we're adapting to our situation. The strongest don't actually always survive. You know who survives? The ones who move around and adapt. You can ask Mr. Brontosaurus about that. Because Mr. Brontosaurus, that 70 feet long, big boned animal, prehistoric, gigantic, intimidating mammal, or I guess they would call it at that point reptile. And again, scientifically, I'm not sure. But he was wiped from the earth, cleanly as a chalkboard at the end of class. The strongest do not survive. The most adaptable do. Humans are proof of that. Humans and animals who have ridden alongside us through every climate shift and famine and ice and age and flood and everything else, meteors and whatever else came along. Why? Because we are omnivores. We can eat anything. We can change our diet based on where we land. And that's what's available. We can adapt our menu to anything in the environment. That's the one reason we're here. And that's the reason why you're reading this, by the way, right now. The last 2 years made me an omnivore. I ate everything. I had to. I didn't have a choice. I learned how to eat and survive in every niche. And I rebuilt my systems that could be retooled quickly within a week instead of within months. I integrated AI into things that I would never think of. I stayed comfortable in this field and I streamlined every customer support process. And whatever walks through the door, regardless of industry, regardless of size, regardless of how strange the business might look like, we can fix them, serve them, and get them on their way. We can wrap our arms around them and pull them up the mountain. And here is the part that gives me the chills when I think about it. The transition from my old customer bloom and let's just say world that was before practice bloom is happening again. That original pivot happened only a couple of years into customer bloom until we got to practice bloom and then we scaled. Looks identical because right now for the last 2 years I've been running profit engines and we're just starting patient engines. Perhaps there's something going on here. Same shape, same pain, same reinvention, same emergence on the other side with a sharper edge and a wider menu that goes into a narrow menu. Clean and almost spooky as if the universe is drawing the same rune twice, just to make sure I see it. Now, as I plant my flag of patient engines into the ground today, I'm not starting from zero. I'm starting with everything 10 years of medical experience. Ooh, that might help. And that's no longer locked behind me. Okay. 2 years of cross-industry support. That's interesting. That taught me a lot to, adapt. Everything I did. A little team, some systems that can bend instead of break. AI tools woven everywhere, the layer of our operation. Now, think about this. I've got all the things imaginable. The new mountain looks tall from here, of course. I want to now scale to another 7-figure business. But I'm already halfway there. And I always climb up. I climbed in this weather before, and I know what to expect. These boots are made for walking. So let me leave you with a question. And I want you to actually sit with it for a moment. Before you scroll past or skip this video, what are you doing today to adapt your business? How are you going to evolve? Especially in today's AI-driven world where rules are being rewritten in real time, and the gap between people moving forward and the people who are watching on the sidelines is getting wider. Because here's the most important part. Folks will say this out loud. The companies that survive the next 5 years will not be the biggest, the oldest, the most credentialed, or the most well-funded. They will be the ones who adapt and learn to eat everything. The ones who retooled with AI before they had to. The ones who treated change like a meal instead of a threat. If that's you, beautiful. You got it. Keep going. Keep adapting. Keep eating. However, if you're reading this and feeling quite an itch in the back of your mind that says you are behind or stuck or unaware, or unsure, or even know nowhere how to start, you don't know where to go, you don't know what to do, well, putting your hand up might be the best thing to do right now. Because sometimes it's the single most powerful move you can make in business. See, the people who ask are the people who advance. The people who pretend they have got it figured out often tend to get involved too late. And they get involved right out of the picture. Don't let evolution catch up to you, my friend. Get in front of it. TLDR. Here's the lessons that's learned. The most adapted do everything to help themselves guide into a strategy that solves the world around them. Every forced detour, everything that's been forced in front of you, your career, your challenges, your businesses, whatever it might be, every door that's locked, every season that wasn't that good, the menu changes. And you have to learn what to eat. You have to learn what's in front of you. The universe is quietly building you a more capable version of yourself, believe it or not. The hardest few years of your professional life are often the most valuable. The 2 years, let's just say, of your professional life where you're trying to struggle through the challenges and changes are the ones that you're learning to adapt. Even if you can't see it, even if you can't see those deposits being put into your mental bank account in real time. See, adaptation compounds. Strength does not. Stay omnivorous. Stay curious. Never stop learning, because the next skill, before it goes out the door, you can learn it. You can demand to learn it. And when the moment comes and you need a hand up the next mountain, raise your hand. Asking is not weakness. Asking is acceleration. P.S. If you need my help, whether you need consulting or a thinking partner with you to map out your next move, or you just want to team up with us and roll up your sleeves and get in the game, let us know. You can reply back to this. Send a message back. We're here for you. We'll take it from there. Sometimes just putting up your hand is the most powerful thing in business.